paid for real estate, the company that I own, and mutual funds.
Boom. Right there. This is the point I'm gonna make. I'm gonna stop this interview right now. All right, so if you've watched this channel enough, you know that it's no secret that Dave Ramsey and I don't always get along in our beliefs, right? Now granted, bless his Tennessee little heart, you know, he's a great guy. He teaches good things for people on a basic financial level. The real question is, how about for those that are really trying to create wealth? And so, my wife has shown me a video recently with Graham Stephan, where he actually sat down with Dave Ramsey to have Dave Ramsey look at his portfolio. Now, if you haven't seen Graham's stuff, you know, he's got multi-million dollars, right? And so it's really interesting to see the reaction of Dave Ramsey and what he says, because it actually supports a lot of what we teach on this very channel here. So check this out.
The personal finance expert, I would love for you to review my portfolio and give your honest thoughts about each of the properties I own, my stock market portfolio, and how you would improve it or what you think I could do to make it better. And I have everything mapped out on this iPad here for you to start.
Cost $59,500, renovation was $12,000.
This is the first property I bought. At the time, I didn't have any credit. I had 4 years of income saved up, and I bought this one cash. I actually went to a bank.
What went wrong after that?
Oh, man.
What went wrong after that? What the heck? Okay. Obviously, all cash makes Dave Ramsey all hot and bothered.
I went to a bank and no one would give me a loan because I didn't have a credit score.
Right.
And I thought that was ridiculous because I said I had never needed debt. I paid everything off in cash.
Yep.
I had a solid income. I had 4 years of tax returns. And the banks turned me down, which I thought was insane. This is the second property that I am actually selling right now. These properties were all in California. So because I've left California, I want to begin selling off some of the holdings there.
Yeah. What are you going to do with them? Just drop them in 1031s and buy over in Vegas?
No, most likely not. I think for the value of these, I don't want to have to be on a time constraint of finding another property. And I think for the most part, I might.
Now here's something that's important when I look at it from my perspective, right? Not just Dave Ramsey's perspective. He's talking about selling it because he wants to get out of California. The truth is, return on equity is a big thing we look at when we look at a client's portfolio, right? Well, he says the value today is $380,000. And right now he's got zero money in it, like zero owed in a mortgage. Net income is $1,400 a month. This is common what I find for our clients in California. $1,400 a month from $380,000. That really means that he's making roughly about 2.5% on his equity, right? $1,400 a month. Actually, it's a little bit more. Let me do the calculation really quick in my head. 15,000. Actually, it's not far off. Okay, so in actuality, he's really making roughly about 4%. Total on his return on equity. That's not great. If you have $380,000, we would like to make at least $35,000 to $40,000 a year off of that, while he's making about $16,000. So already, he should just sell this thing regardless of whatever Dave Ramsey says.
I think for the most part, I might just pay the tax on it.
I'd roll them into a 1031. Worst case is you bail out of it and pay the taxes. I just did that on a piece of property. I had some lots associated with a house that I lived in. And I sold off those lots and I made $1 bazillion on them. And so I rolled it into a 1031. I'm not sure yet if I'm really going to follow through on it. I may end up, but I've got that period of time to mess with it.
Yeah.
Which if I don't do that, then 100% I'm locking in the tax bill.
This is the property.
You guys ever notice that Dave Ramsey actually sounds like a real estate investor? That's because he is. Shocking. Does he ever talk about that on his show? Hardly ever.
That I think I put 20 or 25% down. I bought it for $780. I spent $60,000 renovating it. So I was out of pocket with my down payment, $210,000. Now it's worth about $1,350, so there's about $900 and almost $1 million of equity.
2017 is $585,000, loan of $580.
Good story with this one. So I bought this for $585,000. Needed a lot of work. So my initial loan on that was, I think, $480, but I fixed it up. I spent $220,000 fixing it up. And then I got a refinance when it was valued at $900 and something thousand. And that's when I was able to pull out the $580. And this is what I called the $0 home because I was able to live here for free. I pulled out all of my down payment that I put in the property, got it back. So I was $0 in the property. The property cash flowed in between all the write-offs I got by using the garage as a studio, the rent from the other side, and living there. It was completely free.
Mostly, but you're leaving out opportunity cost. I mean, you could have put that cash in your pocket if you had a renter in there and you were somewhere else. So.
Kind of, because I was able to use that to then buy this duplex, which was a few blocks away. Came up as a really good deal. They marketed this incorrectly, so I saw it come up, and they marketed it as a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom. But it looked so good in the pictures that I had to see it. So I show up there and I realized that, wait a second, if you just put up one wall, all of a sudden it's a 2-bedroom on each side. And the price for a 2-bedroom would have been significantly more. With that one little change and just calling it a 2-bedroom.
Okay, so we don't have to hear everything he's doing, but there's no doubt that Graham, well, one, he likes to talk about all the creative things he did with this, which is great. Like, he's doing some really cool things. I love that Dave is trying to poo-poo on it, right? Why? Because it's got a mortgage on it. He's like, well, I mean, it's not as good as you say it is because, you know, you gotta pay, You know, okay, Dave, like, we get it. You hate the mortgage. The truth is, he was really saying like, hey, out of pocket net, it was like zero for that property. And then even then it's like, well, there's an opportunity cost. Oh yeah, well, guess what? I actually went and bought another property with that money. So Dave, take that. You know. So I kind of love how he's doing this, but you know, Graham is kind of going on and on about all the cool things doing that, kind of, you know, beating his ego a little bit.
And then after staying there for a year, I bought this place in Las Vegas. And this is where I live now. So basically the left half of the house is all studio, and then, you know, the right half is all the living space.
That's cool.
This is what I've really been working on for the last 2 years, is diversifying into stocks. The majority of it is 80% S&P 500, 20% international. And then I do have some individual stocks, and those are the 5 largest holdings.
We tell folks not to have more than 1% of your net worth in single stocks, because a lot of people get to playing single stocks and lose their butt. The numbers out there.
Interesting advice. Don't put more than 1% of your money into single stocks because you could lose your butt. Sounds like something we've been saying a lot of too, huh?
They're on the individual buying and selling single stocks to build wealth are horrendously bad. They're really bad. I don't buy any single stocks because I don't track it. I don't want to spend the time on fooling with them. I would become obsessed with it. It would drive me nuts. But you know, you got a small percentage of your total net worth in this, and as long as it doesn't take up a large percentage of your time for that small percentage of your net worth to screw with those singles, then they're fine. I don't have an opinion about Google or Apple or whatever because I don't even track them.
We got 450 grand in crypto, and that's been highly volatile. I think I think at the peak that was about $1 million. It's down to about 450. It's slightly below my cost basis now, so I have more invested overall than it's worth.
But your basis really doesn't matter. What matters is the future. Harvard Investment Newsletter did a thing called sunk cost analysis. The class was taught to yell if someone brought up their basis, sunk cost. Sunk costs don't matter. I mean, if you're willing to let that kind of money just evaporate and just disappear, and you can emotionally accept that, and your portfolio can accept that blow, and you want to screw with it, that's fine. I personally don't do anything like that. Good cash.
This is actually...
Now, let's just stop here for a second. So he just got done talking about how he has about $5 million in stocks and mutual funds, right? Or index stocks and things like that. He's also got almost $500,000 left in his crypto. And notice that Dave is very diplomatic here. This is uncharacteristic of the Dave Ramsey. If you ever watch a show, you'll constantly hear him say people like, well, that's just stupid, with a, PID, stupid. He says that all the time. He could easily have said that here. He's just like, well, personally, I don't like it, but you got net worth. Here's the truth, and here's something I want you to understand, is that just because somebody's an influencer on YouTube, even if it's me, right? But even if it's somebody like Graham here, he makes his money from his business. He's making money from his YouTube channel. He's making money from his other business ventures he's got going on. That is his number one investment, okay? Now, he's got real estate. That's kind of like his number 2 thing that he's done some pretty creative stuff with. But I wouldn't say he's like this massively great real estate investor. He's just done a few projects and he's done okay. But he's ultimately a business owner. So when he goes and invests in these things, he's like, yeah, if I lose it, whatever, I'll make it back again in my business. I'm young, I can make it work. This is not most of you. Most of you should not be copying what Graham does. You should be copying what's really safer for you specifically, because you may not want to keep generating wealth to make up for these mistakes. He already said his crypto was over $1 million, now it's less. And then he's like, well, it might come back up again. It might not. He might lose it all. You know, I'm not saying you're gonna lose it all in crypto, okay? But what I am saying is that he's gambling way too much of his money, but he's able to gamble it because he's not worried, because if you're making millions of dollars in your business, you'll just make it back again. That's not most Americans. You're not making millions of dollars every single year. You might be making 100,000, or maybe a few 100,000. Maybe you're making tens of thousands. That's not enough. So just understand that when you're seeing Graham stuff, don't use this as like the gold standard of what you should be doing in your situation as well. But also notice Dave Ramsey is not the usual Dave Ramsey. He's being very nice. Okay, let's keep watching here.
This is actually something that I think is excessive, but for some reason I've always felt like I feel better just having it.
The reason you feel like it's excessive is you're a real estate guy. Real estate people are notorious for not keeping enough cash. Because I'm a real estate guy too, we believe in real estate. We believe in it. We believe in how it works as an investment vehicle. And we always have a set of rose-colored glasses on how good it's going to be. The more cash you have, the more you lower your risk. And so that liquidity position, I stack cash. You're getting a pinch on one of these properties, you know, that's your safety net.
Now, at what point do you...
Amen, Dave. Amen. That's all I'll say about that. Great points. You should definitely be liquid. And he's right. A lot of real estate investors don't have liquidity, which is why the amateur ones get in trouble.
Do you begin to realize that maybe you're holding too much cash and it's better to deploy it somewhere?
You've got a lot of properties. You need some cash position to protect yourself on those. Angel investments.
So these are spread throughout.
Now, before we get into angel investments, he's talking about cash is a good thing. Is that too much cash? Many of our clients ask the same question. The truth is, he's making okay money. He's making about 2% in his high yield savings account, which is great. But you can be making more money elsewhere. If you're gonna keep a cash position, you can also use infinite banking, which I know Dave Ramsey's not a fan of, but if you do it the way that Dave Ramsey doesn't do, which is a very low cost, high returning type of infinite banking policy, you can keep your money liquid and safe in that very space.
6 fintech companies that I've been building up for the last 2 years. I'm not counting it in my net worth, but if I were to put a value on it today in terms of what someone might offer for it, I just threw that number there.
Yeah, this is, you know, it's icing, it's play money.
Sure.
It's gravy on the biscuit, so cool, okay.
So this is something that I've actually gotten really into because I love cars and watches. And my philosophy is that if you buy the right car at the right price, you should be able to drive and enjoy it for free. So these 3 cars for me, the Ford GT was something that I saw as a great value about 1.5 years ago, so I paid $300 for it. And that Ford GT, by the way, has been the best investment that I've made over the last probably 1.5 years, 2 years. A Tesla Roadster was the other one.
Yeah, I think your watch is worth more than you think it is.
And there's my debt, $4,020,000. It's all 5 mortgages.
Graham brags about all of his cars. He's like, I think your watch is worth more.
Is 30-year fixed between 2.875 and 3.625%.
When I've been walking with people with $10 million net worths and greater, decamillionaires and greater, and
Here it comes, guys. Here's where Dave Ramsey comes out.
spending time with them and studying them. First I started studying millionaires, just because I wanted to be one, and then I started studying decamillionaires. Now I'm studying billionaires. The rich people always kind of like enamored me. Like I thought they had some kind of special sauce or something, or they had
superpower.
They had a superpower, that's it. And there were some kind of secrets to the rich. And it's always disturbed me a little bit that there aren't any secrets.
Yeah.
Because I wanted there to be this thing that if you went hunting for it, you could find it, you know. It's not there.
It's the iced coffee, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
That's it, that's the secret. So, but what I found with them that kind of set me free to be me was that the vast majority of them don't do anything that's super sophisticated. As a matter of fact, it's kind of ridiculously primitive. I mean, your portfolio is very sophisticated compared to most people that I run into with a $20 million net worth. You've got a lot of, you put a lot of thought to it. I mean, you do this for a living, it's what you do. So you obviously got some brain power on it. But they find something that they like and that they understand and that they're good at, and they do it a lot. You know, so I'll find a guy that's a farmer and he's just buying farmland. Your giftings are much more in the real estate world than they are in analyzing stocks. You know, if we were going to put a portfolio together of your knowledge base, it would be 80% real estate, 20% stocks maybe.
Probably.
You know, that kind of thing. And so really your portfolio, it's okay if your portfolio is real estate heavy if I'm in your shoes. I'm a real estate guy. I grew up, mom and daddy were in the real estate business. I got my license like you did when I was 18 years old.
Wait, Dave, are you saying you're not a mutual fund guy? Interesting.
I sold, bought a lot of real estate, went broke in the business, started buying again. I've got, I don't know, probably $600 million worth right now, something like that, paid for. So I love real estate. My portfolio is way out of balance on real estate. And I aggressively invest in mutual funds, put a lot of money in them, but my portfolio, once I gave myself permission to be me, is paid for real estate, the company that I own, and mutual funds.
Boom, right there. This is the point I'm gonna make. I'm gonna stop this interview right now because really he just kind of goes on and says, yeah, this is wonderful, yada, yada, right? This is what he says, right? Real estate is business, then mutual funds. Comes back to everything we talk about here. His number one investment is not mutual funds like he's telling everybody to do. He's like, everybody buy mutual funds. He's saying that because he's talking to those that are broke starting out. He's saying, well, do something. Here, buy these crappy mutual funds. Unfortunately, that's not the final answer, okay? The final answer is not that, but he doesn't teach that, does he? He stays very religious, very strict, debt-free, debt's always evil. You know, invest in mutual funds, and that's just the way to do it. And it's always worked, and it's always going to work. That has not worked, okay? It's been proven not to work. That's why those people that follow his advice come to us later saying, listen, Chris, now we have assets, but we're cash poor, we're passive income poor because we listened to David's advice. But don't listen to what he says out of his mouth. React more to what he does. He says he's very, very real estate heavy. You don't hear him talking about that, do you? He doesn't talk about being a real estate heavy. No, he's saying go in the stock market. Now he says, I got lots of money in the stock market. He just said he has $600 million paid off in real estate. Even if he says he has a lot in mutual funds, what's that, a few million maybe? Probably. His business is also the number one investment he has too. I would argue that his business is probably the number one investment, then real estate, because his business is what's fueling and paying for that real estate. Guys, this is something that the very same thing my wife, who also has been to Dave Ramsey's office. My wife was the first instructor in the state of Utah to train for Dave Ramsey. She saw the same thing and said, wait a minute, what he's doing is different than what he's teaching people. This isn't right. This is my main point. Dave Ramsey doesn't do what he's telling you to do. He's not practicing what he's preaching. He's telling you to do something totally different that I've already said and already shown you that's proven not to work. Well, if you like this video, go check out how I react to the stock market wiping out Americans' wealth to go along with this conversation. Check it out.